What's up, everyone? I'm Timothy Almime Jr. This is Milamasylum. Thanks for tuning in, checking out this review. So, Prisoners of the Ghostland. There's this one YouTuber, his name is Space Ice, and he does the funniest videos. He's not a reviewer, he basically narrates the entire film for you, but narrates it into the obvious call outs of the film that are like just so bogus, like, oh, they're fighting and there's fire around them for some reason, stuff like that, where it's just like, why is there fire all of a sudden, things like that, or jumping in an elevator shaft but there's no elevator, things like that. But just call outs pretty much the entire films. But he always does like Van Damme, Nick Cage, Stallone, Steven Seagal, and all of Seagal's are the worst movies ever. And then Nick Cage's are always a good one. But he did this film, Prisoners of Ghostland, and I didn't watch it because I've never seen this film. And for me, I was just kind of like, I held off on this film just because it just kind of seemed like just another The Colors of Space or Mandy, and those are like overrated films. They're just, for some reason, people are jumping on the bandwagon, and they're like just some of the crappiest films, like, honestly. So I was a little bit skeptical of this one. Now, on the subtext here, it says, the wildest movie I've ever made. Quote via Nick Cage. Now, this movie came out in September of 2021. That's when the release was. And then Willy's Wonderland came out in February 2021. And that by far is his weirdest freaking role ever. This one was not weird whatsoever. Now, having said that, I know sometimes it takes years for films to be made and even released. Like, they could be made and done, and then it takes like years. Like, look at Army of Darkness. I think it was, 4 years after it had finished filming that it was released later, like 4 full years or something like that. So I know movies can take forever. So during the time, yeah, this might have been the weirdest, but honestly, it was nothing weird about this film at all. It was pretty straightforward. Things that sucked about the film is they didn't give you enough of Ghostland. You had like this tribe in this one little part of town they always showed, and they never showed much more, of like 20 people. And they made it as weird as possible, but they didn't give you really anything. I didn't know if I was watching a post-apocalyptic film or some kind of city that's desertized and off from humanity, and they kind of run their own thing. Like, I had no idea what I was actually watching. And then I feel it takes place in like Taiwan or Japan or wherever they have geisha girls. I think it's China maybe. And now I'm thinking that, because most of the cast is Asian, and then you got some white people who run it, which is okay. So then we don't know exactly where this is taking place. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And then when you really like just sit and think about the film, and you go, okay, why was this even made? What was even the point of this film? And you ask all these questions to get no answers. Because honestly, it was just that. Just someone wanted to burn some money, and Cage was like, why not? Let's make another one. Now, don't get me wrong. There's good things about this film. Like, there's quite a bit of good stuff in the film. But it's just not... It's just... There was no point. This film served absolutely zero purpose to the world. I'm not saying that films have to contribute to the world, but honestly, it was just like a waste of time watching this film. Like, So if you're ever thinking about watching it, and you've been passing it all for the same reasons that I was passing it, you were just like... And then, yes, keep passing it. Don't bother to watch this film. Now, if you are curious, don't say I didn't warn you. Because, as I'm saying, it's not that bad of a film. It's just, there was no reason for it. At all. Period. Anyways, I'm Timothy Almaim Jr., and you want the score to this film, and it is going to be... I'm going to give it a 6.1. Until next time.